Hello again. It's been a while. It's been a bit too long of a while. It's taken me some time to find the energy to start filming. Thank you to all who posted and commented and wished me a good holiday on my previous video, and also thank you to the people who have actually been in touch since, asking how things had gone and wanting to know if I was okay. Yeah, someone sleeping in the background. I've mostly been doing well, but there has been a lot of stuff going on. The trip to Finland was awesome, and it was great seeing lots of family, and it was rough, and I have been utterly drained, and I actually had 2 minor meltdowns during my time in Finland, but and I did do some crafting up there, not as much as I had hoped. I sort of lost my cross-stitching and my knitting mojo. I'm not well. I think I've just been too tired actually to do any crafting of any sort. I've just not had the brain power to do it. Well, I was in Finland, and then I came back home and had about 10 days to recover from Finland, which was not enough, and also to get the place looking semi-decent so I could have my visitors from America, and that went well, mostly, but that was also rather wearing out. And then I had already had the time for a MR scan when I came, which I knew I was going to have to go to while my American visitors were here. And it was actually pretty relevant because I had discovered I had removed some lumps from my leg last year, and while in Finland I discovered there was a new one coming on. And then last week I had a very eventful Tuesday, because Tuesday morning one friend phoned and wanted to know if she could come visit already the day after, and we had an amazing time. And that's Tuesday afternoon. I had another friend call and ask when it would suit me, that she had this time that she would be able to come visit, and would it be okay? And I said sure, why not? So she will be coming next week, and if anybody else phones now asking if they can come visit, it's sorry. I'm all peopled out. I had expected August to be my get back to strength month. That has now been shoved to September, and well, also depending upon when we were this Tuesday, day before yesterday, Mum and I went to the mainland because we had to go to the hospital for the results about the MR, and everything's fine. There's just this new lump, and they're now setting a date for when to get it out, and it may just be fat, it may be something with interesting cells, as they said the previous time. Yep, interesting cells. So I know I have to go in for surgery at some point this month, next month. I don't know yet. But so things have been a bit hectic. But on Tuesday after the hospital, we also went to pick up my toucans. So I thought now would be the perfect time to do this video. Not as advanced as I might have wanted to, and I will have to return with pictures from Finland and stuff like that because, well, I need a little more brain power and peace of mind than I have been able to deal with right now. But I hope you all understand. So anyway, I had taken 3 cross-stitch projects with me to Finland, and one of them, the one with the 2 cats on, which was also an old whip, I didn't get to work on that at all, so I'm not going to show that. But there was the squirrel, which I had started last autumn, I think, and that is done. And this is what it looks like. And he's been washed and he's been pressed, and I haven't figured out if I'm going to put him in a frame or if I'm going to sew him up, but he's done, and I think I know where I want to hang him. So anyway, one finished object. Yay! And then I had brought along one of my Mill Hill Santas, the one from Genoa, or Genova, my Genovese. So and I have sort of, upon looking a bit close at him, I think he must be Cristoforo Colombo. So I didn't finish him up in Finland. I did start on him, and it was also pretty good that I didn't take the one with all the woodland animals, which I had originally planned, because I wouldn't have been able to work on that. But I finished him sometime after I came home, so yes, and he's fully finished with hanger and all. So I don't bother backing these, they just get to hang on my tree as they are. And that is more or less what I've been doing with cross stitch, except at some point when I came home I wanted something small, easy, so I picked up another Mill Hill kit. It's called Santa's Mittens, and I will be making modifications because in the pack they have snowflake charms, and you're supposed to attach one on each, but I don't know how or why the 2 charms are stuck and I can't unstick them. I've tried with a pair of scissors, I've tried with needles, anything to sort of try and get them. They've just stuck like this, like 2 sheets of paper, and I can't get them loose. So basically I only have 1 charm. So I will be making changes to how they're supposed to be put together. But I'll figure that out. I am almost done, all the cross stitching is done, and I'm working on the beading, and this mitt is all done. So I just need to get my head screwed on right and get cracking. And okay, I'll be kind to you guys who are only here for the cross stitch, and I'll bring the toucans for you to see. Yeah. And now let's see, I can't get it all in, hang on. If I zoom out, it should be possible to get them all in. And I am absolutely chuffed with the way that it looks like this. So that part of the framing work I am utterly delighted with. Okay, I thought I had made sure that they knew what they were doing when they were framing embroideries. Apparently not quite enough. And I am happy that I have seen other people have issues with this, because I was a bit prepared for it. And I will also say that in this case, you have already guessed, yeah, it's not straight on the thread, the fabric. Yeah. I'll see if I can get it up close enough that you can see that it is definitely not thread perfect. But I think the fact that this is, and it's not a geometric pattern, there are no straight lines, it's a fluid picture, branches and stuff, and I think this is what is actually saving the fact that they botched the getting it straight on the thread job, because you can't actually really tell from a distance, and I think that's simply the luck of the fact that it's something fluid, branches that are crooked and not straight. So I am not massively disappointed. I am a bit disappointed about it, and if I ever go and get another embroidery job done at this framer's, I will be more demanding and more specific, and I might even perhaps ask if I can get the backing, and then I myself do the lacing, the pinning and the lacing and that stuff. But if I disregard that fact, then I absolutely love this. I still haven't got my picture rails in all the places that I need. That blue wall behind me is one option of where I could hang it. I will try to, hang on, I'll prop this up. And yes, I am sitting on the floor. My regular stitchy area is a bit, it's a bit too chaotic to do any filming. and then I will try to turn the camera so you can see the other options on my walls. Let's see if I can figure this out. The pink wall is out of the question. And okay, and we have a lamp, and now you get the dubious pleasure of watching some of my chaotic house. And you actually don't really get, hang on, we will go the other way around, and then you can get to see that red wall is also, okay, I got cut off by the camera, but that red wall over there is another option for where I could hang my toucans. And then I will show we get more of an idea of the green background, but it's going to be between those two windows, but that's the color of that wall, but here you don't get it in backlight vision. So and it's primarily the green wall I have been considering as where I would hang the toucans. So anyway, back to a front view, and no more messes. So okay, but this more or less concludes my cross stitch department of this Flosstube. I want to get those mittens done, and I would really like to get back into the cats. And then there is that beginning that wildlife picture, which I had hoped to start on, but right now basically just getting back into regular cross stitching would be a success. So now the guest who will be arriving today is Thursday, so next Friday, 8 days from now, the friend who is coming then is the friend who helped me get back into my toucans. So she's also a cross stitcher, and she will be bringing some cross stitching. She'll also be bringing knitting, but and I'm hoping that her visit might sort of give a kickstart to finding my cross stitch mojo again. So no promises on what my what will be on the next Flosstube in the department of cross stitch progress, apart from the mittens, which are entirely possible, but yeah, mojo dependent. And now I will be bringing the Hardanger pieces, and I got way behind on the Hardanger along made by Stitching with a Smile while up in Finland, but when I then got back home I found it actually rather easy to get started on the Hardanger. It was much easier than trying to do any cross stitching. I think perhaps because I didn't have to keep looking at a pattern. It was just sort of getting started, and then it was more or less carrying on. And there were 3 steps, I think, since I last showed it to you. So this is what it looks like right now. And all the threads have been cut. Yes, Nina, you are absolutely right. It is absolutely delightful to cut and pull. So this is my very, very bright and multicolored thing, and I hope you've been enjoying your holidays and visits and stuff, and I am really tempted to start the same pattern in quite a number of other color variations. I have been able to be good and not start on anything new, but I think that once this is done, then I am definitely going to be cutting another piece of Hardanger fabric and doing another version of this. And then there's the other Hardanger piece, which I have been doing myself, and I have been making some slight mods to the pattern. And this is my current status on it, and this has been super brilliant for working on when I've been tired, because it's just one color, and once I figure out the particular stitch area, the whatever part I'm working on, then as soon as I've gotten the hang of it, then it's just same old, and there's not a lot of thinking, and that's been pretty brilliant. And I will probably be making a few more mods on this compared to the original pattern. I don't have it here, but and I will likely also, the stitch along piece will likely be getting done also with this green fabric. I have tons of it, and then with white thread. So, and well, ambitions for that, just keep plodding on and try not to start on any new Hardanger pieces before at least one of those are done. And now we're going to get on to knitting. Not as much knitting happened in Finland as expected. Not a lot of knitting has been happening in general. I have been even too tired or worn out to deal with knitting, which is saying a lot, but I got this pair of socks started up in Finland. Some of you who follow me on Instagram may have seen small hints of it, and it was actually pretty perfect that I started with this particular skein, because the flowers, the wildflowers growing alongside the roads while we were driving in Finland were actually these colors. And I have taken some pictures, and they will be coming in another video once I get my head around to it. Yes, this is a cat who's coming in to see what I'm up to. And Yes. That was the only knitting I got done in Finland. I did buy some yarn up in Finland. I had checked to find a specific shop in Helsinki, Helsingfors, and I had an idea of what yarn I wanted to go looking for. It's a Finnish dyer called Louhittaren luola, or she's also called Knitlob in English. And there was especially one colorway that I was really looking forward to finding, which is called Sinitiainen, which is blue tit. And they didn't have the sock yarn version of it at the shop, but they did have it in a slightly thicker, I think it was a sport weight. And I got one skein, and now I have a pair of bluted socks of the thicker variety, and I am utterly in love with them. I actually bought two skeins, but I discovered that there is a slight difference. This other one is slightly more vibrant, darker in color, and I had planned on making a hat, but that didn't really look all that good. And currently I'm trying to make a cowl, and it's been giving me grief because I'm just knitting out of my head, and I'm not entirely satisfied with what it's looking like, and I've already frogged several times part of it and re-knit, and I think I am going to end up going down to my really local yarn shop and asking for advice. I have another idea about how I could make this, so currently work in progress, blue tit cowl, but it makes me happy to knit with this. They did have some of Knitlob's sock yarn in another colorway I had been looking at, and this is what it looks like caked up. And hang on, somebody is trying to assist me. This is what it looks like knit up. And this is called Linnunrata, which is the Finnish name for the Milky Way. And I am enjoying it, and well, I haven't gotten all that far, but I'm having fun with it. And then they also, the shop, it's the shop called Snurre in Helsinki, if you're ever around there. They had got some new yarn, which is, at least it's dyed in Estonia. I'm not sure if it's also spun. And it was a series called Symphony, and the yarns were named up after various composers. I wasn't quite sort of, not all the composers and colorways were brilliant matches, not to my mind. I had been looking at Sibelius, but that was sort of a pale green, minty green, which I felt like, no, that's not really Sibelius. They didn't have Verdi, Giuseppe Verdi is one of my favorite composers. And there were some colorways that I thought were gorgeous, but the composers are not among my favorites, so I was a bit hemming and hawing. and I had already chosen those other 3 skeins, so I needed to control myself. So I ended up with Vivaldi, and I still haven't made up my mind if he's going to become nice, snuggly. There's cashmere in this. It's okay, I don't have the label with me, so I can't remember, but I remember there is a bit of cashmere in it. So it's not for everyday socks, but I might be making myself some bed socks, or I might be making myself a scarf shawl thingy. Still haven't quite made my mind up, but I had to have it. It is absolutely soft and gorgeous, and I love the colours. And they did talk about that this company was also going to make another series where all the names were operas, and I need to get back and have a look at what they are like, because there are a couple of operas which I might be tempted by, but we need to see. And I think I showed you these socks in the previous video, and I have at long last managed to finish the knitting. Now it's just finishing off the toes and all the ends. It was a hodgepodge of leftover skeins, and this is basically what I have left, which is awesome. I have way too much sock yarn, so these are almost done. And then my American guest, I have made knit socks for her mother previously, and I have also made, I think, 1 or 2 pairs for her elder sister. But while she was here, sorry darling, no, he's lying here on the floor and he's trying to be helpful. I got her to look at some of my sock yarn and pick out some colours. Yeah, my camera was rude again and cut me off shortly before I would have been able to finish this whole thing, but anyway. This sock is one that I started about a week ago, and is the result of having told my American friend to have a look through my sock yarn stash, and I now have a small bag with yarns that she liked, which means I can knit socks for her, and then I can have fun knitting them, and I can make something useful. I can make someone happy, because she gets warm feet in the winter. She lives in Maine, so and I get yarn out of the house. And I did that with my previous visitor, the one who came, surprise surprise, asked if she could come by. She's also had the opportunity of going through my sock yarn stash and picking out some colours and skeins that she liked, which is brilliant because it's my super simple sort of own concoction pattern, and both of these two, it's the same size that I knit for myself, so it's really easy, and I have lots of easy knitting opportunities now, and I get to make some of my friends happy, and I get to make myself happy because I get rid of yarn. So I hope to have more finished socks rather than these almost finished socks by next time, and perhaps even have figured out about my blue-tit cowl. I would like to get back into the habit of doing a video, a Flosstube, every 3 weeks, because I think that's worked pretty well. This is always dependent upon the fact or the matter of, do I find my cross stitch mojo? Because there's no point in making a Flosstube if I'm not making any cross stitch. So I hope to be back in about 3 weeks' time with cross stitchy progress. We will hope my friend is able to give me a kick in the behind. And I will also hopefully be able to settle down and do something with all of the stuff I got up in Finland. There was a change of plans, so you won't be getting lots of pictures from Helsinki. Instead of going to some of the places I had actually wanted to, we went to an art exhibition because it turned out it's the 100th. One of my dad's uncles was an artist, and he would have turned 100 this year if he was alive. And there was an exhibition, sort of, because it was the 100th birthday year. And all the other things I wanted to do in Helsinki are stuff I can always do next year, but this exhibition was just this year, so we went to that. And I might be able to show some pictures from that as well. But yeah, it requires a bit more brain power than I have been capable of mustering together. And I've been having all sorts of ideas related to what I was doing previously on this channel and other plans I had in mind. So there will be activity, hopefully, depending, that is not cross-stitch related, but I will always, cross-stitch videos will be labelled Flosstube, so you will always be able to tell what's what. And, well, if you want to check out some of my other things, you're welcome, but you're not obliged. Flosstube is for the cross-stitch crowd, and the other videos will be for other crowds, so anyway. Thank you to all who have watched this. I hope you've enjoyed it, and it's good to be back, and I need to get back to watching. I've been unable to actually watch a lot of Flosstube videos myself because reasons. I might talk about that in the next video, but anyway, thank you to all who have subscribed. Thank you to all of you who've been hanging around and commenting and stuff, and I hope to see you soon. And if any of you still have some summer holidays left, enjoy them. Hope you have a good time, and until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.